No idea. All right, 3. I got too much going on. All right, we are live. Switch to this. Yeah, got it going. What up, big dog? How you doing, Tyler?
I'm great. This is becoming the new thing to look forward to.
Right, Monday mornings for you. It's my after lunch treat, I guess. But we are here to talk rocks. I mean, obviously, if you're listening, you know who we are and what we're about, and this cool graphic that our boy Lewis made.
Yeah,
It's
it's
coming
I
in
love
high.
having the actual Blake Street sign. That is so it's very clean, and we got the road. He killed this. He killed
I,
this.
yeah, I wasn't able to give him any props on it yet, so I'll have to. Hopefully, he's listening or finds time to listen to this. But I was like, all right, let's just roll with it, and it's clean. It fits in nicely. I figured out how to edit on StreamYard, so we're doing all right. We're doing all right, Tyler.
Elon Musk has to watch out. We will be to the moon. No, we're gonna hit Mars before you know it. So like things are rolling.
Yeah, let's cross our fingers for that. We got some things happening. We got a Noah Davis clip in the middle of this, then we're gonna add it to the end of this. For the pod listeners, I still want people to listen to us, not see us. That way, I don't feel so self conscious about my looks, my appearance. It's more about me than anybody else. So we're gonna put a little clip on Noah Davis in the middle of this. I have no idea when, and then you're gonna have to go listen to it on the podcast. As I'm saying that out loud, I don't know how that's really gonna work. So I don't know, because like, why would you watch us on this and then go listen to the pod separately? It's like that just seems like a lot of work, and I don't think I would do that for anybody. So all right, we have an hour to
The
figure it out.
timestamp will be included maybe after the fact.
No, it's not. No timestamp in it. We'll figure it out. Maybe I'll just pop it on at the end of this. I think I can add a video. Anyway, nobody cares. Nobody cares about that stuff. Nobody cares that we don't know what we're doing. I guess the more I talk about it, the less people kind of realize that we don't know what we're talking about. But let's get into it. All right, let's get into it. We're just kind of talking off air. Not a whole lot of bright spots, team wise or even player wise, this week for the minor leagues, which kind of stings. But that's why we're here. We dive in for it all. So let's talk. I'm going to give my hitter of the week. And you go ahead and give yours right after. And if you are listening, I
Right.
see a few of you in here. Go ahead and type it in the YouTube. Who your player of the week, your hitter of the week, your pitcher of the week, and any questions, any comments that you want to put in there. Go ahead and add to it. All right. My hitter of the week is Aaron Schunk. Had a solid week. 8 hits out of 20 at bats, 2 doubles, 4 RBIs, 2 walks to 3 strikeouts. And that all translates to a 955 OPS. Not a lot of production across the board. I don't know if there was one single minor league Rockies player that actually had double digits RBI. So that kind of sucks. All right, sweet. What up, Drew? Thanks for joining us, Creaseman. I got some kind of Rockies royalty right there. All right, sweet.
Sweet. All right.
So, but with like, there's just wasn't a lot happening, right? Like, no double digit RBI across. I think Ryan Ritter might have. I guess Ryan Ritter might be the one, but other than that, it's pretty quiet, pretty low. But back to Shunk. I'm really looking at his swinging and missing and being able to take a walk and work a walk and not strike out. He knows it. He's a free swinger. He's been working
Yeah.
on it. So that 2 walks to 3 strikeout, not a big deal, but like the fact that that's 2 walks to like not 8 strikeouts is a pretty good thing, right? So the strikeouts are lowering. He's got to be the next infielder that's coming up. You know, Cole Tucker's been kind of on a tear last few weeks, which kind of makes me nervous. There might be a Vanessa Hudgens sighting in Coors soon, but I think Shunky deserves his accolades here, and his defense has gotten better. So gotta go for our guy.
Yeah, he picks it, but definitely a really aggressive guy, and that is going to be like in his favor. Sometimes there's going to be times where he's just swinging away, he's getting a lot of barrels, but then there's weeks where he's gonna, like you said, have maybe the one walk and like 8 strikeouts, and it's hard to produce with those kinds of underlying numbers. But flipping the switch, my player of the week, Adael Amador, this was kind of a no-brainer for
Yeah.
me. He raked this week. He hit 412, 545 on base, a home run, a double or 2 doubles, a triple, 4 walks to 2 strikeouts. I mean, he's just doing his thing. He's getting so much hype these days. Like
Yeah.
we kind of kicked that off a little bit, like a few weeks. Obviously, he's top 100 prospect. We didn't discover him, but we started to give him a lot more hype. And national media is like, this guy's really intriguing. You see some of those like scout the stat line type of people, especially for fantasy baseball, and they have him as like a top 10 hitting prospect based on his
Yeah.
numbers. So he's just continuing to roll. We have news we're going to talk about in just a sec, but there should be news regarding Adael Amador. I'm surprised that we have not gotten that quite yet. He's easily the most advanced hitter in the system relative to the level. And I mean, you could probably say he's the most advanced hitter, period. But especially
Yeah.
relative to the level he's playing at, it's crazy he's still in Spokane. Like, obviously, again, to kind of allude to what we're going to get to, the Rockies are obviously not that afraid of age and pushing guys. So let's get the ball rolling with Amador. There's a lot at stake with him. Like, there's so much upside, so much talent that it's just time to keep him moving. He's not impeded
Yeah.
whatsoever by Spokane. Well,
Yeah.
the Northwest League.
The call up that did get moved should have had a companion pass, so to speak, on that flight to Hartford. Amador should have done it. I don't know if you get the stats, but 412, 555, and 824 slash, 1 home run, 2 doubles, 1 triple, and then the 4 walks and 2 strikeouts. Dude, man, on the season has 31 walks to 24 strikeouts with a 941 OPS. As the kids say less. Like, dude just rakes,
Exactly.
does whatever he can. I think he was number 15, or I think he was top 20, definitely top 30 in the Baseball America top 100. Can't say I have that subscription, so I'm not sure what he is on there. So maybe Mike can
I
get
think
on it.
I had seen. I don't think it was as high as we were expecting. I think it was around 50.
Oh, was it 50? I thought it
Yeah,
was top 30.
like Yanquiel Fernandez broke into the top 100, which was really cool. But yeah, Amador a little bit lower than expected. 50 might not be quite right, but I was like, this guy's 100% top 25.
Yeah.
It was definitely outside of that.
I
But
don't
just want to throw
know
out
if I
some
took
fun
that.
numbers since May 19th. So we're looking at basically 1 month. He's hitting 373 since then, with a 1156 OPS, 20 walks, 9 strikeouts, and 5 homers. Like, it's 1 month, yes, but that is absurd. And yeah, Drew in the chat kind of alluded to that. On the season now, the strikeout percentage is just 9.6.
It's just
That is
gross.
wild for someone who is not like a Raimel Tapia style of hitter who's trying to put the ball in play as soon as possible. Like, Amador works counts, and so to have a 9.6 strikeout percentage, that is quite ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty fun, especially when you see these 20 to 30% strikeout rates in Albuquerque and Hartford. It's a nice little breath of fresh air there with Amador. Yeah, let's move on. that boy gets too much time on this pod. My pitcher of the week is Carson Palmquist. I'm going to set this up for you to kind of explain who he is to the people here. Carson Palmquist, 10 strikeouts this week, 6 innings pitched, so he had that quality start because he only allowed 3 earned runs, 6 hits, and the cool thing is the 1 walk. 60 strikes to 93 pitches. That's one thing I'm starting to look into a lot more. Like, what's our strike percentage per outing rather than just the traditional numbers? Not sure what that means or where I'm going with that, but I feel like it's important to have at least 2/3 of your pitchers being strikes, whether that's, the striking or looks and all that. Because he also had 16 strikes swinging. So he has some swing and miss in there. And I know that's a pretty good number. So, and the cool thing about it, I started digging into it a little bit. He's figured it out down in, no, he's in Spokane. Up in Spokane, is his ground ball to fly ball ratio has drastically changed. Going from his like first 2 starts of the season, it was 7. Nope, here we go. 4 ground balls to 12 fly balls, and then 2 ground balls to 12 fly balls in back-to-back games. His last 2 starts has been 7 ground balls to 5, and then 7 to 7 in this last start. Just drastically changing. That's happening while his strikeouts per 9 has gone up and his whip has gone down. Just another sign of progress from these arms that you drafted last year that you have some hope on, whether it's being a 4-5 starter to a long reliever. Carson Palmquist is kind of fitting that mold there. And you're going to just tell us all, you're going to educate us real quick, Tyler. Who is he? What is he? What does he bring to the table as a pitcher? Because I can't see him. He plays for Spokane.
Yeah, I wish we could get more actual looks. So kind of what I'm working with is what he showed at Miami. I mean, he's low 90s. He's like going to top out probably 93, 94, unless there's been some mechanical stuff this year to up that. But it's effective, and he kind of comes from a lower slot. So there's that funkiness that it doesn't really matter how hard you're throwing, as long as you're not throwing it in there like 82. The funkiness, it is low 90s. He's sitting probably 90 to 93, which it doesn't sound that flashy to us anymore. But the reality is you can be very successful as a pitcher throwing 90 to 93. Like that is without question. But where he makes his money is he has a really good changeup and a really good slider. Like both pitches are just, they wipe people out. They're kind of exclusive to certain hitters though. Like he's really only throwing his changeup to right-handed bats and his slider to lefties. He's just trying to work away from guys. And so there's both pitches though are just so good. Like guys can't really tee that up. So he really kind of works a 2-pitch mix, 2 lefties and righties. It's, it's different for each, but it's effective. And he's really fun because there's kind of like some Chris McMahon in the arsenal, like the pitch types, but I think Palmquist has a really good grasp on just how to execute. Mm-hmm. It's simple. He simplifies it a lot, but he knows what he's doing. And I think worst case, he's a really solid left-handed reliever. But again, because of how effective he is at mixing the pitches, like I think he could be a starter. Like you don't expect a guy who's really throwing a 2-pitch mix to each hitter to be a starter, but again, they're really effective pitches. He is just hard to tee up because of the location and the spin direction and all that. So
okay,
really keep an eye on him. I think he's a guy who could end up as a top 5 pitching prospect in the system. If some people might already think he's that, but I'm not quite there yet.
He's not going to. Yeah, and you got adding that to the arsenal that's up there with Jaden Hill, Jared Candy, Victor Juarez, Gabe Hughes, and Carson Palmquist is slowly working his way up to the top of that there. Who's your pitcher of the week?
I'm going another lefty, Caleb Franzen. He was the 12th round pick last year out of the University of Portland. He's kind of similar. It's funny actually. He's very similar to Palmquist in terms of the style. It's low 90s from the left side, and then you mix in the 2 really solid secondaries, the changeup and the slider. The changeup had like almost a 60% whiff rate last season in college, which is kind of just nutty. But this week, 6 innings pitched, 3 hits in the outing, 1 earned run, but he struck out 6. And he's someone you think 12th rounder, like probably not going to make an impact. He's someone who sooner than later should be getting that promotion to Spokane. Again, a lot of these guys may not stick in the rotation, but he's someone with a very solid floor and a good chance to, get some 40-man consideration in 2-3 years.
Yeah, if you can just keep adding lefties to whatever kind of mix they turn into, there's nothing wrong with that. And granted, he's a college pitcher coming into low A. We've talked about that multiple times. It should be happening. These call-ups should be happening soon as they're starting to prepare for the draft coming up in about 3 weeks, I think. We're less than 20 days to the draft here. So going to be interesting to see what they do with these rotations, these arms all across the board, let alone the bats here. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. Mike got back to me, Tyler. Amador is number 47 and Yanquiel is number 99 in the Baseball America Top 100. So I was completely off. I feel bad for lying to the people there, but accountability is huge and holding us to that high enough standard to pay attention to what we say is important. So we went back. Mike got back to us. Amador 47, not top 25. That must have been another list I was thinking of. Maybe it was the Rockies top 30 list. Nope, terrible joke. All right, moving on. So Yanquiel Fernandez. We've been on this train. Probably 3 out of the last 4 pods have been all Yanquiel this, Yanquiel that. He's deserved it. He is on the way to Hartford. Now, we can go a whole bunch of different ways about this, but last week we talked about when are we going to start seeing these call-ups. And you and I, we agreed that playoffs winning Spokane Indians needed to get that playoff spot for that first half. And this is the last week to earn it. Tyler, do the Spokane Indians have any chance to make the high A playoffs in this first half?
I did not do the full probability breakdowns. I'm not that smart. But they're 4 games back going into this final week, and the 2 teams above them are playing each other. So as far as I know, it's impossible for them to overcome a 4-game deficit over both teams. Like, I think so Vancouver's 4 games up. I think Eugene is only a half game ahead of Spokane, but they're playing each other. If Eugene wins the series, they're going to be almost definitely above Spokane. I guess mathematically, though, they were eliminated, and I think that was kind of the deal here.
Yeah.
If not mathematically eliminated, like, the probability is Spokane would have to sweep, and there'd have to be like the perfect breakdown of that Vancouver Eugene series. So they're just about eliminated. We had, talked about, and not to our credit, this is something that has been talked. You just connect the dots. The Rockies want their guys to win.
Gotta win.
I think Billy Schmidt had mentioned at some point that that's kind of a deadline in a way. And now that Spokane doesn't really have a shot in this first half, you see Yanquiel Fernandez up to AA. And who's next? We will find out. There's got to be more to come in the next couple of weeks.
There's so many games.
This was like that firm deadline, 11:59 p.m. Submit the assignment, and they submitted Yanquiel Fernandez. So.
So we've seen it. So this is maybe the banter here we have. We've seen it with Zach Veen. We've seen it with Drew Romo. Starting to be a little bit concerned about Zach Veen. Not completely writing him off yet. Drew Romo had a pretty decent follow-up to his Player of the Week honors last week. What do we kind of expect to see from Yanquiel Fernandez? He's not as free of a swinger, so to speak, as Zach Veen. He's a little bit more polished in that sense, but still coming in as that big lefty. What are we kind of hoping for from him in this first month and a half? So at the end of July, what are we kind of wishing that Yanquiel Fernandez can show us?
I mean, I think first and foremost, and it's real basic, you want to see the strikeout rate just kind of remain where it is. Mm-hmm. He's a guy who's putting a lot of balls in play. He makes good contact. So the first benchmark is you want to see the balls in play at the same rate. But you look at someone like Zach Veen, and he's not having huge strikeout issues, but he is having issues making the type of contact he has to be successful. So the first box for Fernandez is just continue to do what he does and put the ball in play a lot. He has a ton of power. So if he's putting the ball in play, chances are that means we're going to see a lot of production. But that second box is we want to see the impact. That's his biggest trait. That is what's carrying him through the minors right now, is that not only does he make a lot of contact, but he's one of the top power guys in the system. So we're looking for those two things to hold. It's hard to gauge I think it's always hard to gauge how advanced these guys are at the lower levels. And he's one of them that there's been times where you're like, he's going to hit. And then there's other times where you're like, he's going to need to hit for power. So hopefully we get both. Wishful thinking. But if he's holding the strikeout rate, even if the impact isn't quite there, I'm not super worried. But we don't want this to look like a new game for him, more or less.
Yeah, he's currently at a 17% strikeout, 18% strikeout if you want to round up, if you believe in rounding. He has that 18% strikeout rate as right now with Northwest League. And the competition is a little bit tougher. You got the guys really literally knocking on the door in that AA Northeast League. So keeping that strikeout rate, you would say, is number one key with that. Then hopefully the power and the contact and stuff comes into play later.
Yeah, I mean, because with the walks and stuff with him, like, you would love to see him walk around what he's doing now, but I'm not going to be overly worried if this time around he's not like, walking. I'm not sure exactly what his walk rate is right now. I think about like 7, maybe
About 5%, a little low.
5. Okay. So just you want to see it stick around there, but if it dips to 3 even, like I'll be patient about that. But really just want to see the contact remain stable.
And it's something that's a thing that you have to watch out for in the Eastern League. Says Hunter Goodman, your mom's favorite player. He's starting to hit the wall a little bit. I think you might have posted it from the BSB account. His hitting's not there, but he's still finding ways to get on base in the walks right now. So the last 28 days, 179 batting average, 669 OPS. Where on the season he's sitting at 231 batting average, 873 OPS. So there's been a pretty big drastic drop in the last month or so. So, but however, he's still Hunter Goodman still walked 8 times last week. He has 15, almost doubling his entire month, last month of walk totals in that week. So something is still there. He still has that. And with his big swing, you're going to have a lot of big misses. So hopefully that contact piece comes into play. Now it's for me, for watching Hunter Goodman, it's kind of like what you're saying about Yank. Like, what is he doing to go forward? All right, you're hitting this lull, you're coming down to earth a little bit, so to speak. What are you doing to put in quality at bats? What are you doing to make sure you're getting back to that swing, that power? And Hunter Goodman, I'm not so concerned about. He does make a lot of good at bats. A lot of his at bats aren't 3 and done. He's finding his pitch as he's trying to work those counts for those walks. We're not necessarily seeing that from Zach Veen as much anymore. His professional hitting that he was doing at the end of May, early June, just early May, it's kind of gone back a little bit. You see him a little bit lower in the lineup. So he's really trying to figure out that feel, and just that inside fastball kind of been kicking his butt a little bit. So huge congrats to Yank. This is about him, not about the struggles that these guys see at AA. Huge congrats to Yanquiel Fernandez, and huge congrats to us for being right. I mean, we're kind of wrong, but we're right. We knew what they were doing, and it feels good. Who from the Spokane Indians gets the next call?
Well,
real quick,
we got the next news down the road. Eddie Diaz hit the ACL, almost as like prefacing our dude Amador. We're not gonna give him more screen time right now. More Amador to AA just seems like the writing is on the wall.
Yeah,
there's just nothing left down there. There's nothing left.
Yeah, I think you're right. That definitely seems like a predecessor to something about to happen. I mean, and if Amador's there another month, we're going to have issues. All right, we're kind of sad vibes, so let's keep going with sad vibes here. Can we talk about Blair Calvo being DFA'd? It stings, man. It stings. So stoked for the man. He got the 40-man nod in the off season. Like, hell yeah. The 3 heads from the Hartford Yard Goats last year, making their way to the Isotopes, and then they get recognized with Pint and Hollowell, and then Calvo was that third one there. He got a little taste, and then for whatever reason, the Rockies DFA'd him for Jorge Alfaro.
Yep.
Which he got traded. The Tigers picked him up for some cash considerations, which I don't know how any of this works, but it sucks that a big arm like Calvo, a quality arm like Calvo, got traded away for cash. Like, I don't know. It just feels gross, man. I don't like it.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't get to see him in AAA this year, so maybe they had hopes that his stuff was gonna like really play well there and tick up, maybe even. And it's tough to know their thought process behind this because, of course, we didn't get to see him much at the big league level. He didn't perform particularly well in AAA, but it just seems odd to add a guy to your 40-man roster and then deem him designate like that you can designate him just a couple of months later without much of an audition. Not even in AAA. He didn't play that much in AAA. So was he worthy of the 40-man ad? Was it worthy to kind of create this pinch with him? Would he have been taken in the Rule 5 draft? I'm inclined to think not if this is where we are just months later. the Rule 5 draft, I mean, teams can play around. It's not hard to take a guy, and if you have to, you pay. I forget the exact amount, but it's not that much money to send a player back to their original club. Like, it stinks that he was added to the 40-man, and now he's just not even in the organization anymore. Not a super high upside guy, but he totally could have been an MLB arm, even if that was just in the depth capacity. But now he's sent over for cash. It stinks not to get anything like really tangible. Like, I don't know how tangible cash considerations really is for an organization. And it kind of bites.
Yeah. What does Dick Monfort need with cash? He's fine. He's making it. Somebody put it out there. Maybe he has to pay. He was being sarcastic. I hope he was. He's got to pay for that huge, terrible KB contract. I'm like, Brody, Dick Monfort has the rooftops to pay for that. He doesn't need to trade a 4A, for lack of a better term, relief pitcher for what, 1% of the KB contract.
Well, I mean, there's a chance that you trade these guys for like $10. Like, I know there's been some like stories that have come out that in the past, cash considerations is actually like $1. It's a formality, and I'm sure that it was more than $1 here, but we're probably just talking about like more, again, that formality, a placeholder, unless there were suitors for him. But I think cash consideration, like a player to be named later, is even more valuable than cash considerations. Like, you're never trading a guy for a significant lump of cash, like straight up.
No,
cash can be involved in trades. We all know that. There's been evidence of that. But when it's player for cash, it's not much cash. And that is kind of what you have to realize to get the full slap in the face feel.
Yep. Yeah, it sucks. It absolutely sucks. I'm kind of stoked, though, because I might be going to the Tigers game, and it sounds like the Tigers are actually going to put him on the MLB squad. Their relief crew, it's about middle of the road, but they're taxed just like the Rockies. Basically, the Tigers are the AL Rockies. It's pretty gross how similar they are and everything. I'm just in baseball hell right now, but it's kind of cool. I might be able to see Blair Calvo play in Detroit and holler at him from the bullpen out there. It's just a weird trade, but this does count as a trade. Remember, Tyler, we had the over under at 1.5 MLB trades during the season at the beginning of the year. This counts as number one. Right?
If I'm not mistaken, I think I don't know if I said it because I'm not sure exactly what I said. I think I hit the over though, because these kinds of trades count as trades.
Yep, I think you counted it as this. So we're one away from being right again. God, I'm feeling good.
Always right, never
always
wrong.
Right. Just
don't listen to any of our other podcasts. Though.
No, I mean, if you want to go back and hold us accountable, feel free to do that, because we love for you to go listen to those banner sessions with our guys. However, we're never wrong. Gavin Hollowell is back with the Rocks. That's kind of a pleasant surprise. I did not watch any of this Atlanta Braves series. I'm going to be straight up, but I saw that he got some action yesterday. 1 run, I think, maybe 2 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Not sure.
Yeah, he got the multiple innings though. I think
he
finished 2 innings.
Okay,
he definitely started the second. That series was tough to latch onto.
It was very bad.
But yeah, he finished 2 innings, 2 Ks, 2 walks, a run scored, but the stuff was what you expect from him. Like, it looked good. He's someone that we've talked about the bullpen being taxed, and he is a guy with the stuff quality to come up and be, your next Justin Lawrence type of pitcher. Like, maybe a little delay, but there is a lot of upside with him. He's not just a throw into the MLB roster. He's someone who very well could, give this bullpen a boost. The stuff was there, 93 on each of his fastballs, 83 on the slider, and we know that slider, it slides. Some would even say it sweeps.
Yo,
have a sweeper though.
Have a fun little Justin Lawrence versus Gavin Hollowell sweeper action game. Could be fun there. It's good to see him back. Yeah, because he has the stuff to be a go-to arm. I remember I
Yeah.
watched him in Tacoma. He pitched for Tacoma at the beginning of the week, and he looked really good. I was like, oh yeah, he's back, sweet. So I saw him pitch in Tacoma, which is exciting stuff. Sterling Thompson is back. I think this is his first week. I think first full week back from the back injury or arm injury. He's down with ACL for about 6 weeks. He came back, did all right. No home runs, no real extra base hits. However, he had 5 RBIs. I lied. He had 2 doubles. 2 doubles, 5 RBIs on the week with 2 walks and 3 strikeouts. I mean, if we can get Sterling Thompson, Jordan back going again, and going back and forth all together, I think there's good action again in Spokane. Just going forward, and can't forget about our boy Zach Kokoska hitting that grand slam in there too.
Yeah. Now he gets some more outfield time too. That's something I like for him. Glad he plays first now, but like that outfield versatility, got to maintain that.
Got to keep it in there. Yeah, got to find that. And in his words, got to find ways to get that playing time. So having that versatility, being able to do both, is awesome. All right, I want to take a break. I want to play a Noah Davis clip real quick. So, and I figured out what I'm going to do. I'm going to upload the full banter session to the YouTube right now. So when this is over, you can go straight over to the Noah Davis banter session on the YouTube, and then on the podcast, I'm just going to put it all together, so it's all there at the end. So if you're listening right now, go ahead and just fast forward for the next about 20, 30 minutes and go to the end, because we don't really matter. Noah Davis does. And go listen to the Noah Davis banter session upcoming. But before you do that, here he is talking about his MLB debut. And cross our fingers this works, Tyler. I'm nervous. 3 starts in the majors, then you went down with the right elbow inflammation. Pretty cool, pretty exciting. But I want to go back to the end of last season, your time in LA, just getting that first call up, getting that first taste of the big leagues. I'm assuming the family came out and was able to watch you. Just what was like that moment like for you? Just getting that first experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to talk about my debut without talking about the previous 2 weeks before it, getting called up and being there for about 2 weeks and not getting into a game. Just even being there, I think, allowed me to calm the nerves a little bit. See the guys that I was hanging out with outside of the field go out there and do their thing. The guys I was talking to in the clubhouse, and just get kind of accustomed to like the big league, what it's all about. So yeah, my family did end up actually making it out to LA, which was lucky for me, only about an hour away from home. So they were chasing me to Chicago, to Denver, all over the place, trying to see that debut. And then luckily at the last second, it was right in our backyard. So it worked out pretty nicely. But I mean, I thought I had myself under control and I thought I was ready, but you never really know if you're ready till you're out there. And I pitched in the 7th inning, Dodger Stadium. Probably half the fans had already left, but there's still about 30,000 people there, and it was the loudest thing I've ever heard. So heart was jumping a little bit, but I had a lot of fun out there. I remember taking some time to kind of look around and be like, wow, this is pretty insane,
Yeah.
Especially being back in LA. So kind of a full circle moment there.
I love the fact that he was willing to come on and talk to us. It's pretty cool. Again, we're the little guys here, and Noah Davis, he's a big dog now, and he came and talked and shared some stories there. And that was your first time talking to him, right, Tyler? So what was kind of your takeaway just from him as a dude?
I mean, I just enjoyed that kind of baseball player. Like he's so brilliant when it comes to pitching, and we see that. So like he's posting his pitch data all over Twitter. Like very few pitchers are doing that, but at the same time, he's like, I just would love to I'm better friends with the hitting coaches because we don't have to talk about baseball. Like
Yeah.
I love that duality that he's like a baseball genius, but also like I just don't want to talk about baseball. But he just seems very cool, calm, and collected. So he's a great dude. He fits the California vibe, and just can't help but feel like he has all it takes up here to succeed.
Yeah, he's gonna be good. He's got to be coming back. So that nice little segue right there. I didn't even know I was gonna do it. Dude, man, went 2 innings yesterday. Saturday. I was really stoked to watch him Saturday. I was like, all right, I'm gonna settle in for 4 or 5 innings. We're gonna get Noah Davis up here, and he went 2 innings, pitched 30 pitches, 21 of them strikes, 4 strikeouts in that time. Stuff was nasty. I gave up 2 bombs. One probably shouldn't have been able to happen because of a fielding error. He gave up 3 runs, 1 being earned. However, the stuff was good. But if somebody's coming back on rehab, Tyler, third start coming off on rehab, and they only go 30 pitches, what does that mean to you?
I mean, it could mean a couple different things. Either they don't want to put him in the rotation, which like who else who's going in the rotation now? You just lost Dinelson Lamet. Well, you didn't lose him. You ejected him. The idea is that Noah Davis is going to take that spot, but 30 pitches is not quite being fully stretched out. You would want to see 60. And if he throws 60 in this start, he could throw 70 to 75 and an MLB start. So it is kind of confusing, but we're still going to hope. And it just seems logical that he's going to pick up a start here because the Rockies have had a pretty brutal schedule, and I'm pretty sure they still have at least another series without a day off. I think this was supposed to be like a 15-game stretch with no off days. So you don't really have the flexibility to 4-man rotation it. You could do that with an off day, but Noah Davis has to be back at some point. Like you would think like Wednesday or Thursday, he's making the start. Yeah. Maybe it's more in that opener capacity where he does throw like 40 to 50 pitches, and that's 3, maybe 4 innings, which that'd be nice. That still counts as a start.
Right.
But it is a little weird.
Yeah. So with that weirdness that you're just saying, he has 4 starts since coming back from injury. 58 pitches, 69 pitches, nice, and 66 pitches before his 30-pitch performance. So he's up to 70 at least. Like, are they saving bullets? That's just what I'm like. I get what you're saying. All right, so 2-3 innings of relief, but he's been up to 73 out of the 4 starts.
I mean, yeah, maybe it was like he's back. Like stuff looks great. Kind of got beat up a little bit here. Let's save it. I don't know how much influence there can be from like the big league club on like a split second decision like that. I think there's got to be some influence. It's like, hey, we're watching Noah. I don't know if he needs to go back out, but that's just spitballing.
Yeah.
Good to know though that he did. I mean, his pitch count is up there. He could start a game and not have to get pulled regardless after like 3 or 4 innings.
Yeah, it's just something that something we're watching for. Phillips Valdez came back from injury also, and he was the guy that came in for Noah Davis too. So it might have just been like let's take it easy breezy injury rehab coming back to it. So just something we're watching. And let's take a quick lap around the minors, some quick highlights, and then we'll end with the Baseball America's 2026 projected lineups and what that might possibly mean. So maybe some big performances, some notable performances, I guess. One I've been watching for a while now is Jeff Criswell. He's been kind of flipping a switch and for Isotopes. 4 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts, 4 earned runs. Is what it is. I don't know what more. Future friend of the pod. I think this guy's banter session is going to come out in the next probably 2 or 3 weeks. But Ben Bramer, 6.2 innings pitched, 7 hits, 4 strikeouts. Had a lot of traffic, 7 hits, those in walks, 1 walk, but managed it all pretty well. Got a lot of help from his defense. But like he said, he goes out there, he's a dog. He's going to do the best that he possibly can for his team, and he did that today. But and another name, Tyler, I'm bringing it up, man. We got to be concerned, or worried, or excited, or let's go. The blockheads are stoked about this. Tyler Block is back, man. As bad as the PCL is to pitch in, Tyler Block has figured it out. He's at So last week, let me slow myself down. I'll bring it back. Ty Block went 5.1 innings pitched last week. 4 hits, 0 runs, 1 walk to 6 strikeouts. Ty Block since May 6th, since being called down, has gone 27.2 innings pitched. Only allowed 28 hits in that time, 7 walks, 26 strikeouts, with 7 earned runs. That translates to a 2.2 ERA, and batters are OPSing 637 against him. Is Ty Block going to be a Rocky before Noah Davis? I switched up the question on you.
I'm almost not willing to give an answer to that question because either way, either I'll be right by saying no, and all is good, but chances are I don't really want to give it thought because
right.
it's tough. But I'll say that his numbers this year in AAA about as good as they've been since he first came up with the Giants. And let's be real, he was a good starter for a little over 2 years with the Giants. Combined 2.4 Fangraphs WAR between 2016 and 2018. That's like very solid. The ERA at that point was right about 4.5 and almost 300 innings. So he's a guy. I don't really want to see him up in the big leagues just because we heard Bill Schmidt on the broadcast the other day really talking about how he wants to piece the future together. That a lot of what they want to do rest of the season is make these evaluations, decisions based on the future. And I just see guys like Ty Block and even, Ben Bramer, who is now friend of the pod. It's just these are not your future rotation pieces. Especially Ty Block. Ben Bramer hasn't had as extensive of a look, but they're not your future rotation pieces, not really future bullpen pieces either. It just would suck to soak up more innings at the big league level unless there was true pandemonium and like 6 more pitchers got injured. Not fully 6, but if there were like 3 more pitching injuries, you can bring up anybody you want, but we're still at a decent level in terms of the depth with pitching, even with some of these injuries. Well, we don't need to bring back 32-year-old Ty Block.
I like how you did that. I try to get you there, but you handled it well. It's just something, man. It's something to just watch out for. Nick Mears continues to do cool things. 4 strikeouts, 2 innings pitched, 0s everywhere else. Quick rundown. Hartford. Hughes had 2 starts. Didn't go as well as his first one. Wasn't able to watch, so wasn't really able to give you a quick rundown. But 15 hits, 13 earned runs, and 9 innings total. Case Williams is back. 3 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Good, nice coming back from his about 2-3 week stint on the IL.
Think so.
Stephen Jones is dominant of the AA. Whatever the reason they dropped him down to AA instead of keeping up in Isotopes, still befuddling. He's making light work. 2 innings pitched, 0 runs, 2 strikeouts, 1 save. Don't think he needs to spend much more time there. And I think this piece should be criminal. Tyler, Dugan Darnell did not pitch at all this week.
It's almost like they're saving his bullets. We were talking about that with Mel Davis.
Except I took it as
40 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah. What could we do with that? Yeah, are they saving his bullets for AAA? Are they? Is he injured? I don't know. I don't know what's happening. It makes me scared. Makes me mad. But Dugan Darnell did not pitch. Levine had a nice quiet week. He's just quietly putting together a solid season. As atrocious as the Hartford Yard Goes offense has been, Grant Levine is like right in there almost every week. 1 double, 2 dongs, 6 RBIs, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts, 776 OPS. Like I said earlier, Drew Romo had a nice bounce back week, 2 doubles this week, 3 RBIs. Had a very good at bat that did not show up on this time stat line. He looked terrible on 2 strikes. Went down 0-2, knew what he was looking for, worked the count to get a pitch to drive, and end up hitting a sac fly to tie the game late Wednesday or Thursday. That was a very good professional bat where Drew Romo's not doing that in the middle of May. Drew Romo's doing that in the middle of June. So that's a good sign. As much as we kind of have dogged Drew Romo, I think he's hitting that switch now. Julio Carreras is back. Zach Veen continues to struggle. We might talk a little bit more about that maybe next week. Hartford is Hartford. They are not making the first half playoffs. It's 27-35. They are 12 games back of the leader. I don't know. Anything else you want to add right there?
I mean, hopefully you get a little bit of a boost with Yanquiel Fernandez. Other guys might be in the mix. And not to talk about Veen too much yet. We'll save that. It's worthy of the segment. Really have to hope because, Drew Romo, he's hitting really well the last a little over a week. .370 average in his last 7 games, which isn't, it's a small sample, but it counts for something, and that's momentum that can keep rolling. Zach Veen just has not had any of that momentum since he first came off the injured list. And I'll be fair, I see a lot of like just outright hate on him on the timeline sometimes.
Yeah.
His WRC plus is still 69,
Nice.
which is not very nice, but it's also not that bad. Like he's like a really good week away from pushing that. Like he could be at 85 in a week with a good week. So he's keeping himself afloat, which we have to consider. You would hope that the second half he can just kind of like wipe a little bit of it out of his head and just go, because there were people pushing for him to make the MLB roster out of spring training, which was never really realistic. We all knew that. But he looked so good in spring training, and he looked great in the fall league. We just have to see that pick up again. I think that a lot of people getting worried about him. I think it's a little, again, premature. Like the tools are still elite. There's been a history of production, not in the minors even, but like, again, MLB spring training and the fall league, both were really good showings for him against high level talent. So for him in AA right now, I think he needs his start. And just needs to find that swing that can work. Like you said, the inside fastball, it's a swing kind of like Cody Bellinger. Like he's had that comp his whole career. Cody Bellinger went through a really rough couple of years. This year with the Cubs, I mean, I haven't checked on his numbers in a couple of weeks, but they were borderline all-star one of the last times I checked. So Cody Bellinger figured it out. Zach Veen, who I think has less of a holy swing, like, and I'm not talking, godly. I'm talking like Cody Bellinger's swing was broken. Zach Veen's, I don't think ever has been, but he has weaknesses, and I think he has to just learn how to, cope with that.
Yeah.
If he can, then Hartford can have a fun second half. I don't think a AAA call-up for Veen is really on the table anymore unless he just tears it up in July, maybe gets there in August, but it just doesn't seem right to promote a guy for just a few weeks to AAA.
I want to add to that, but let's have a Zach Veen segment next week. We'll come in with some actual data and maybe turn into something there, because I want to add more to it. But we're gonna keep that on lock. Let's head over to Spokane. Jordan Beck, Tyler did not homer this week. I think this might be his first week in his professional career that he did not home run, which he'll be fine. Adele Amador, we talked about him. Zach Kokoska had 2 dongs, 1.1 OPS. Benny Montgomery, quiet, doing his thing, still learning how to be a big baller, shot caller. 1 home run, 1 double, 9 strikeouts to 4 walks this week. We talked about a little bit about Sterling Thompson. Jaden Hill, he's the big one. Atrocious start 2 weeks ago. I think he went 0.2 innings, 4 or 5 runs, just did not have it. Was able to go 3 innings this week, 5 earned runs, 6 strikeouts. And that just is what it is. We can't watch Spokane. They are working on different things up there, especially with Jaden Hill. So just as long as that stat line keeps getting a little bit better each week, I think is a good thing. Still looking for that 5 inning, 6 inning performance where he's allowing 4 or 5 runs or less. And then Jared Candy, future friend of the pod, banter session coming out probably next week. Let's put that out next Thursday. All right. Accountability, people. Jared Candy's banter session coming out next Thursday. He went 6 again, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk to those 4 strikeouts. Spokane, they were the closest one to a playoff spot. We talked a little bit about that earlier. They're right now a week out, 32-30 on the season. Almost the best record of any Rockies affiliate. And then Fresno does have the best record of any Rockies affiliate. Some decent performances. Franzen, 6 inning pitch, 6 strikeouts. Connor Stain did okay, 4 strikeouts, 5 innings. Felix Ramirez, he's got to be knocking on the door. He's a little bit older. He's too old for low A. He should be getting up to Spokane soon. 6 innings of relief with 6 strikeouts. And Ryan Ritter, he's the big baller down there. He continues just to dominate and make them look silly. He went 7 for 18 this week with 9 RBIs, 2 doubles, 2 triples, and 1 home run. Only 5 strikeouts in that time. Just fantastic stuff from that guy. I just really want that bat to show out. And Jamari Baylor, came back to reality. Player of the week honors last week and
Yeah.
ended up having 11 strikeouts this week and 16 at bats. You have your highs and you have your lows, and Jabari definitely kind of meets that mold. But Father's Day magic in Fresno, Skylar Messenger, the Colorado Rocky or the Rocky-born free agent signing out of Texas Tech, I believe. Nope, I think I messed that up.
Just
Texas,
Texas.
just
Yeah,
Texas.
just Texas.
Had a nice walk off yesterday for the Fresno Grizzlies. I think it was a 2-run bomb over the left field wall. It was pretty cool. It was nice. Anything else for the low A before we get into this projected 2026 lineup?
I mean, I think just Ryan Ritter really is like, it's like at this point it feels like a 300-pound domino, and he's trying to push it because once he gets promoted, there's going to be that domino effect. Amador has to get promoted. You figure out Double A, Triple A. You know, you lost Coco Montes. You can't really promote Julio Carreras with how he's played, but let's get those dominoes falling.
Let's start moving them along, and let's do that because those dominoes are part of this future 2026 lineup. Segue. So Baseball America put out their 2026 lineup here. I think if I do this right, you can see it. Nope, I got to present the screen. Bear with me, y'all. But catcher, they have Drew Romo projected as the catcher. Euleris Montero, first base. Second base, Brendan Rodgers. Third base, Ryan Max. Shortstop, Ezekiel Tovar. Left field, Thompson. Center field, Benny. Right field, Veen. Designated hitter, KB. Let's talk about this before we get into the pitchers. You go first. Take it apart. What are you thinking here?
I mean, it's cool that they still like Euleris Montero. It's kind of funny to see any projection thing that has him as the first baseman right now, because it has been a really rough season for him at the big league level, at least. He just hasn't had any real signs of life. Even that's what sucks right now with him. No signs of life. He gets behind, it seems, every count. He's striking out a ton. Not many hard hit balls. It's hard to pencil him in, to even pencil him in right now as a projected starter.
I don't know if he's a Rocky in 2024.
Right now he's kind of playing to that. Like, we've talked a fair amount that there's not going to be a ton of loyalty to him in the organization. They're not tying themselves to him in the front office or Bud Black. They would love for him to succeed, but they're not going to force that.
Exactly.
It's interesting to see that graphic not have Nolan Jones on there after how he's played. Yep. I don't like the idea remotely of playing Nolan Jones at first base because it takes away two of his most valuable traits, which is above average speed and a insane arm. Like, you can't play him at first base, but he's got to be in that lineup somewhere. Also, the outfield is kind of interesting. You got Veen, and this plays into Nolan Jones. You have Veen, Montgomery, and Thompson, who, yes, Veen and Montgomery, first-round picks. You could probably pencil them in, but also both haven't done very well this year. You can't necessarily say these guys are for sure going to be starters right now. You can say Nolan Jones is going to get a very extended look as a starter. He currently is. And then you also have Jordan Beck and Yanquiel Fernandez, who really deserve some consideration. I don't know if you could put both of them in, but maybe one of them over Thompson, Montgomery, Veen, however you want to shake it out. That was just a tough call for BA to make. Can't really fault them for that. The biggest shock for me in that lineup, though, is no Adael Amador. And I've been banging this drum. I think he's the best offensive prospect the Rockies have had. I mean, when you look at the rankings since Brendan Rodgers, but his numbers are, the best since I don't know who. Like, maybe you can't really say David Dahl. Even David Dahl's numbers weren't like incredible. Maybe the best numbers we've seen in my memory in the minors, Amador. He's got to be in that lineup somewhere.
Yeah, because I'm looking. I think I don't know if Brendan Rodgers is on this team in 2026. Whether it's the injuries have fizzled him away or he's produced enough where you can actually trade him. He's on a 1-year contract, 2.7. I think he's still probably arbitration eligible for a little bit.
Yeah, I think he could be a free agent after next season.
He's an
I'm not
unrestricted
mistaken.
free agent going into 2026.
Oh, so then he has. Never mind.
So
He
yeah,
has. I think this was ARB1 for him, so he has 2
yep,
years after this.
yep.
So then that makes sense.
So that will be interesting. So he'll probably get a contract coming back from that. But if you have a guy like Amador, because what do you do with Amador in 25? Because Amador's gonna be knocking on the door in 2025. Again, this is I'm assuming this is projected 2026 opening day lineup going
Yeah,
for it. So you might see an Amador, getting in the lineup in 2026, but you got to imagine he's knocking on the door in 2025 and like, yo,
I
I'm
mean,
here.
I think he'll be knocking on the door like early next season in
Yeah.
24. Like should be, if he was in Double A right now doing what he was doing, which is a big step, but he'd be knocking on the door right now. So 2026, I think he should be entrenched as the everyday second baseman, or however you want to break that down.
Yeah.
And it's a good problem to have, to be like, how do you balance Amador and McMahon and Rogers and I guess Tovar, although he's kind of a unique guy. How to balance those three, it's tricky. It's just tough to see Amador as being the odd one out. I think McMahon has played himself as a cornerstone right now, but Rogers, he just has not. And then you have that DH spot, which right now KB is just kind of like, sitting there,
you
whatever.
Kind of have to, right?
But,
you kind of have to. I don't see. I'm going to put. So if I were to adjust this, I'm going catcher Jeromo. Yes. First baseman, I'm going Grant Levine. In 2026. Second base. I think I'm sticking with Brendan Rodgers. Third base, Rymack. Shortstop, Tavar. Left field. I'm putting Zach Veen in left field. I'm putting Jordan Beck in center, and I'm putting Nolan Jones in right. And then
I think that's fair.
I think just the contract that KB has is designated hitter KB, but I could see a Hunter Goodman in that DH spot.
Yeah.
That's how I'd project it.
I think it'll fizzle out in a way that, and it'll be full circle for the Rockies. You had Ian Desmond take this honor up. I think you got to come to a point where, because of the kind of the pinch that the Rockies put themselves in with some third basemen and some corner outfielders, play Chris Bryant at first base. He has a lot of experience there. I think give it 2 more years. I don't think he's quite an outfielder anymore. Play him at first base, because I don't want to short Levine, but that's kind of the one that's in the most question. If you put Bryant at first base, then boom, you can put Rogers at DH and then Amador at second base or something like that. So that's sort of how I would be looking at the lineup. And then it will be crazy, because you're going to have Yanquiel Fernandez and Sterling Thompson still hanging around.
Yeah, I didn't even. I want
and
to put
Benny
Yankee
Montgomery.
Like too.
The outfield will be in really good shape. I just want to see all those guys get to Double A, so we can have a really good idea on what to expect from Jordan Beck. We will get that from Yanquiel Fernandez here soon, and then Sterling Thompson, and eventually Benny Montgomery. He will probably be the last one to get to Double A of that group. But
let's just call them all up to Double A. Let's just call them all up to Double A and figure out, like, you can play second base today. You can play third base today. We don't really care about defense. You're just these 6 outfielders are just gonna get their ABs in Double A for this last half of the season, and let's just see what we have. Let's just go all in and figure out what we are doing here with these guys. No,
I don't know.
No, probably not.
No, Sterling Thompson though should be soaking up some time in the infield. He came up in college as an infielder. Maybe that's not his future home, but like you could really create a lot more flexibility in the lineup by playing him at third base, maybe some second base if he does have the range for that. That would also just help his future stock, that this is a guy you can throw in the lineup in the infield or in the outfield. Yeah. But we do need to get some of those guys rolling in Double A.
Exactly. Let's head to the starting rotation. This one, I don't know. Like, I think we're going to agree on probably all of it. Number 1 starter Herman Marquez, 2 Kyle Freeland, and then Gabriel Hughes 3, Cincy 4, Jordy Vargas as the number 5 one, which is super interesting. And then the closer Tyler Kinley. We should be seeing Tyler Kinley coming back soon. I think I saw an update that he's starting to throw from a mound and doing live BP.
Yeah.
So hopefully he's coming back soon. Initial takeaway. What do you got?
I mean, I think the big takeaway, I tried to wrap my head around this, like, who can you sub in at the 5? Who can you sub in if one of Marquez or Senzatella leaves in the next, few years or is traded away? I don't know who that. I mean, because Vargas is interesting to put in there, but the upside with him is as good as anyone in the system, and he's performed admirably at every level. I don't know who. I mean, you have Jaden Hill with a ton of upside. You have Joe Rock with a lot of upside. McMahon is a decent option. We've seen Connor Siebold look okay at times this year. That might be a sensitive topic after seeing him get absolutely shelled against Atlanta.
I mean, we all have bad days. We all have.
Yeah. Maybe that 5th starter is like the 2023 first round pick.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the way it could change in the next 3-4 weeks. It does kind of show you the Rockies have to get some answers in the pitching department. They have a lot of really intriguing guys, but none that you're like, he's a 5th starter or 4th starter or whatever, mid-rotation guy. Even Gabriel Hughes, who I think you could definitely slot in here as the 3 or the 4. We have to see him conquer AA before we're like, yeah, Gabriel Hughes is an MLB starter. Like we are confident in that, but you have to see it to truly believe it. And then the closer thing is funny. You can't really criticize it, whatever. I don't think they put a ton of thought into it. It's got to be Gavin Hollowell or Justin Lawrence, though.
You're wrong.
I don't think Kenley will be a Rocky when he's 35 years old. I mean, what is he right now? Like 31 or 32? Like that's
30.
like projecting a contract extension pretty much. Which he did get his little extension, but he is a free agent after
right before.
Trying to see if Fangraphs can give me that, but it won't. I think he's a free agent though in the next 2 years. So yeah, he's a free agent after 2025 with a club option for 26. I doubt that gets picked up.
Yeah, and it's very interesting. But you're only wrong because it's going to be Dugan Darnell as the closer in 2023.
There you go. I'll accept that.
Gavin Hollowell and Justin Lawrence probably should definitely be first 2 options there. This is also assuming that German Marquez signs with the Rockies.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's not a sure thing to stick around.
No, he's got a club option.
Is not going to be that.
Club option 24 and restricted free agent in 2025. But knowing the Rockies, they're going to sign him to probably about another 7-year deal. Make him a pitcher, highest paid pitcher until he's 40. So that's going to be interesting. The number 5 starter, I mean, and when you think of Rockies, almost any team, you need to think about like number 8, 1 through 8, 1 through 9 starters. Because you have a lot of fringe guys that you could add to this list. You mentioned a few of them already. So I don't know. I just want to add Case Williams and Joe Rock to that. Joe Rock is looking good. I think he's going to make some noise the second half coming back from this injury. He had 0 walks this last week. His biggest struggle last year was pitching with runners on, and he seemed to have figured that out at least these last 2 outings, especially in Hartford. So I think he's going to be one knocking on there, that big lefty too. You don't see that a lot. And where the heck is Noah Davis? Where's Noah Davis on this list, Tyler? Yeah, like I get the Freeland, I get the Cincy contracts, and Gabriel Hughes has shown everything he's supposed to, but Noah Davis ain't no slouch. Like he should be on this list somewhere. I don't know where I would put him though. Like I would probably put him at number 5, just because Vargas is in low A right now, still trying to figure, trying to prove himself. And Noah Davis really kind of has proven himself. That's the only place I would normally say. I think I would put Noah Davis as number 5 and then Jordy Vargas number 5B right there. But my bias is showing.
And yeah, that is just the hardest one to really sift through. We thought the outfield was hard. I think the starting pitching is hard because so many guys, no one has really separated themselves quite yet. Everyone is going to have their own take on that.
Yeah. So we'll see. We should get some historian on there. I'm sure people are already on it. What did the Baseball America project for the 2023 3 years ago? What did they project for 2024? So I'm kind of curious about that. Maybe we can get Mike on that later. Maybe that could be a nice little blog piece there. It's just fun to talk about. The Rockies are going to Rocky. You never know what they're going to do, even though you kind of do know what they're going to do. I don't know if I can take another series against good teams. I don't know. And I think we play the Angels at Coors this week, so that might be kind of fun seeing Shohei and Trout. But that Atlanta Braves series was atrocious. It was not fun to watch.
Yeah,
I feel
terrible.
bad for anybody who actually gets paid to cover that and wasn't able to turn it off. It was just bad. But that's why we're here. We're bringing up the promise. We're bringing up the light. We're bringing up the future with these Road to Blake Streets. There are some good things happening. A lot of people aren't going to talk about it. We're going to be a little bit worried here and there because it's the Rockies and AAA numbers and all this and all that. But there's some good things that are happening in the minors. I don't know if we'll see it in 2024. Definitely the tail end of 2024. Hopefully in 2025 we start seeing a lot of these names knocking on the door, and hopefully the Rockies don't Rockies them out of making the smart decisions.
Yeah. It's just a lot of fun this year, and the draft is going to be probably the most exciting part.
Yes, yeah, we're 3 weeks away. You can see a lot of these names playing in the CWS. The game last night was fun. I don't know if you were able to watch the CWS, but it was Florida versus Tennessee. Nope, wasn't Tennessee. Oral Roberts. They back and forth. It was fun. It was a fun game. So if you are
Hudson Waldrop,
yep,
keep an eye out on that name for the Rockies. We'll have plenty more draft talks, and he's going to be the guy I hang with, the most in that topic. Right. You were right. Oral Roberts.
Yeah. Got a little chippy in there too. It was the perfect CWS late night game. It was awesome. All right. Anything else for the good of the cause?
I think you have one more thing to say.
Yeah. Before I get there, if you're listening on the audio, the podcast, go ahead and enjoy this banter session with Noah Davis. About 15 minutes of him just catching up. We talk everything from debut to rehab to punk rock music and what he has in common with Kyle Freeland, if they were able to talk about it. And if you're watching, go ahead and stay on the YouTube. The Noah Davis mini banter session has been posted. Find it real quick. And as always, go Rocks minor league affiliates. Woo! Wait, I have a video. No, I wasn't ready.
Thank you for watching and listening. Please check out our link tree for more content.